Hey everybody, Mobile Gamers Unite, enjoying another beautiful summer day. So today we're going to talk about Scary Joshua. There's Joshua, who he's a limited rogue, alright? So he's going to be a badass, okay? And there's badass Joshua, and you know, we all know it. And then there's Scary Joshua, alright? And the difference, and I'm showcasing Joshua on my alt account, because in order to have quote-unquote Scary Joshua, you need the right gear for him. And then his name changes to just Josh. Scary Josh. Alright. I have Joshua fully mastered on my main account. I mean, I have all of his masteries unlocked. I probably shouldn't have. I should have just concentrated on my top 5. You guys always hear me talking about it, but Josh was just so fun to play, and his Dark Demise ability, like his AoEs, these are the first characters that we're getting that have these straight line AoE abilities where they can hit a bunch of people if they line up, and I just think that's fun to play with, because if you play strategic enough, I mean, it favors skill-based play, and I like that. So, and these abilities that line up, I typically do more than just a little bit of damage, okay? Like Joshua's Dark Demise ability, it gets rid of 2 buffs. That's pretty impressive. I mean, when you can hit a whole party of people and get rid of 2 buffs off of each of them, that's pretty damn good. On top of the damage that you're doing, which is gonna be a critical hit, and it's gonna trigger fixed damage. And you might also have Luna's fusion power on, because Joshua do be tucking, so he does get the princess fusion power. It applies to him, which is really cool, because I've noticed that I don't want Joshua to be throwing his fusion power. I want him banking off of somebody else's fusion power, and that's because of all the fun and nasty little skills that he brings to the table. I would rather bring Dark Demise personally, because it's so fun to play with for me, than his fusion power. Because if you bring his fusion, then you have Phantom Raid, which is a 5-turn cooldown, and then you have Double Tap, his single target ability to finish somebody off. Alright? So personally for me, I would rather have Joshua bank off of some other fusion power just to get his stats up, and just run around throwing Dark Demise and lining people up, and Phantom Raid is absolutely phenomenal. So the reason we're showcasing Joshua on my alt account is because this account, oddly enough, has better gear for Joshua. And we're talking about nasty Joshua now, okay? And in order to pull this off, the stars do kind of have to align for you. You need the Extreme Magic Bow. You need the Extreme Magic Bow. You can get away with tweaking some of the other stuff. I mean, this Joshua doesn't even have an SSR helm, but he's just way more wicked than my other Joshua, even though that one, he's got a higher power level, higher stats, but none of that matters, because this Joshua can be played a different way that my other Joshua just cannot be played, because he does not have the Extreme Magic Bow. The Extreme Magic Bow gets rid of Joshua's penalty in melee combat, which means that even if you corner him in close quarters combat, he will still do full damage to you, okay? That's really interesting, and that, I mean, it's like this magic bow was made for this guy, okay? So, I also have the Demon Lizard skin on him, so if you attack him, you might get debuffed, and that's nice. And I have the Divine Boots on him to give him more movement, which is awesome for Phantom Raid, Shadow Raid, which one is it? What's it called? I think it's called Phantom Raid. This one right here. Because when he drops Phantom Raid, he gets to move again afterwards. And this is just awesome. You can move up, you can hit a bunch of people with Phantom Raid, and then you can retreat right back to your tank. So that is really awesome, and it's very useful in PvE and PvP. I've noticed. I love it. So, but regardless, you're gonna want hopefully some boots to give him movement. If you don't have a pair of boots to throw on him, then I would suggest throwing something that gives attack and crit. Lots and lots of crit. Okay, Joshua is crit based. He's always going to get fixed damage on you if he throws a crit. And fun little fact about Joshua, his crit goes off of his attack, which means in the future dragons will take fixed damage from Joshua because it's based off of his stat and not the dragon's max hit points. Okay, so but back to Joshua's nasty build, we have to talk about his soldiers. Okay, first of all, mist dancers, absolutely phenomenal for Joshua. The best thing that I've noticed about the mist dancers is even when Joshua uses a skill and he hits 5 people with an AoE, the mist dancers will still inflict 1 random strong debuff. So that's really cool because when you hit like 3-4 people at a time, and your mist dancers get to debuff everybody. So that's really nice, okay? The only problem with mist dancers is their weakness is melee, okay? So even if I have the extreme magic bow, somebody attacks me in melee combat, okay, Joshua's attack is no longer hindered, but the mist dancers are still taking a penalty to close quarters combat, okay? And really look at their stats, they're not going to survive, okay? So this is why the troop choice is important, because he can run around with Guardian Infantry, and you need to upgrade him to Black Fang in order to get these guys. And yeah, I'm on my way, okay? Because the Guardian Infantry, along with the Extreme Magic Bow, is what makes Joshua turn into nasty Joshua, okay? These Guardian Infantry, their weakness is cavalry instead of melee combat. So as long as you're not, trying to throw these guys at a Leon, you're gonna be okay. But here's the cool part. These guys work with him very well for 2 specific reasons. One, their ability is when attacked, your soldier's hit points is above 80%, your defense increases by a high percentage. That's going to keep a Joshua alive. As far as I'm concerned, this is one of the best meat shields for Joshua, okay? When you're talking about just taking damage or getting attacked in general, I mean, these are the guys that you're gonna want to be in the way to take the hits for you. So they just work perfectly for that. They kind of work like Landius's Guardian Infantry, where as long as their hit points is above 80%, you're going to get some sort of damage reduction. In this case, it's not damage reduction, it's an increase to defense, which still works very well because these guys are pretty tanky. They have a shit ton of hit points, and yeah, their attack's really high, okay? So now if you have the Extreme Magic Bow and you're running with Guardian Infantry, you can just use Joshua to attack people in close quarters combat. And typically you're not going to be the aggressor here, okay? This is all going to work out when somebody attacks you in close quarters combat, because typically with Joshua, you're going to be running around dropping his skills, especially if you're not running his fusion power and you're banking off of another fusion power. You have enough skill slots and you can bring enough skills with him where every turn he's going to be able to throw something, whether it's Dark Demise or Double Tap or whatever. And if somebody does corner Joshua, they have to fight the Guardian Infantry, which is going to do full damage, and they have to fight Joshua, who's going to do full damage. So in my opinion, yeah, it's definitely worth it to give up the Mist Dancers for the Guardian Infantry if you have the Extreme Magic Bow. All right, because here's the thing, you're still going to be able to attack from 1 block away with just Joshua, and he'll be able to do some damage, but it's not going to be as much as him with the Mist Dancers. So if you are being the aggressor and you're attacking, then yeah, you're probably just going to want to get up close, and then that way all of your Guardian Infantry, they get their attacks too. And if you look at their attack, it's a pretty high stat, okay? These guys have 470 attack. The Mist Dancers go 450, something like that. So their attack's a little bit higher than the Mist Dancers, but they're not going to get a penalty in close quarters combat. They're also going to have a higher defense, and of course they're going to have a much higher defense once they're getting attacked and their ability procs. So this fundamentally changes how you can play Joshua, and he just becomes nasty as hell. Because especially for higher end content, these Guardian Infantry are going to keep Joshua alive longer, so he can actually spam his skills, which is really what's doing all the damage, and adding fixed damage to all the crits and all that fun stuff. Now, you don't necessarily, if you don't have an extreme magic bow, it's not the end of the world, okay? There's plenty of people that run Joshua with Mist Dancers, and it's a different type of playstyle because you're not, you got to worry more about people getting you into close quarters combat. But Joshua can still do fine with Mist Dancers, and especially when you're talking about dropping his Phantom Raid ability and then running away, because now you're doing Phantom Raid and everybody's getting a strong debuff, and half of them are going to take a critical hit, and they're going to get fixed damage, on top of whatever other fusion ability you've added to him via Luna or to any other characters that have great fusion powers that Joshua can take advantage of. So that is really the big difference between having the gear for Joshua and not. You're either going to be running Mist Dancers, or if all the stars align and you can run Guardian Infantry and take full advantage of them, I gotta say that's the way to go, and I cannot wait to do that. And on my other account, I think I have the Seductress dagger on him. There's plenty of daggers you can put on this guy that increase his crit and his attack, or add some fixed damage on top of everything he already has going on for him. You just got to play a little bit more carefully with him. Alright, and like I said, I have him at level 60 on my other account. He's at like a 4,500 power. I got him all mastered out just because he's so fun to play with. Oddly enough, this is the Joshua that I've been running in PvP for my alt account. He's doing wonderful in PvP, as you would expect. Now, I cannot wait, like I said, to unlock these Guardian Infantry because I already have the Extreme Magic Bow, and I will do a video of that, but I just wanted to clarify what makes Joshua really, really nasty. And he can be pretty nasty with the Mist Dancers because it's debuff city. It's pretty cool, okay? But I still got to give it up to the Guardian Infantry, and that's pretty cool because I haven't seen too many other units that really fully take advantage of the Guardian Infantry. They tend to be like a second best choice for most characters, and Joshua is just perfect to take these guys out and really maximize on them. And that's just my opinion. Now, some people might think that the Mist Dancers work better. Yeah, get the magic bow and then try it the other way, because I'm telling you, I have the Guardian Infantry for my other Joshua, and I've taken them out and just kind of seen what they can do, especially for Guild War runs. A high level Joshua with Guardian Infantry, he can solo maps for you, because even if they do get him in close quarters combat, the Guardian Infantry will just jack everybody up, especially if you have them leveled up right. So that, in my opinion, is what makes Joshua into nasty Joshua. If the stars align and you have the right gear for him, this is definitely something you should go for. If you have that extreme magic bow, he's definitely one of the best candidates for it. And he's not the only one. Actually, Narnar can run around with angels, and it's the same thing. Where is Narnar? It's pretty much the same thing with her. If you give her the extreme magic bow and she can run around with angels, that makes her extremely deadly, and it gives her a super strong meat shield to stand in front of. Is she going to do that much damage ranged? No, because it's only going to be her doing damage. But Nar has a lot of skills and abilities. Obviously not this one, but she has that sniper shot ability. I mean, she can still do good damage all on her own, and you're still bringing a lot of protection for her. She's surrounded by angels, so now if somebody does manage to corner her in close quarters combat, they have to deal with those angels. And if you have the extreme magic bow, then her damage isn't reduced either. So that extreme magic bow is a must for a lot of assassins. Same with Diehard. I've heard a lot of people say, hey, don't even waste the rune and start building him as an assassin unless you have that extreme magic bow. So there's also another bow that increases your range, but it gives you a 20% penalty to like your attack or your damage. I don't have that bow. If I did, I would play around with it and I would see where it would be applicable and the best case scenario for it, but I don't have it. I'm happy and lucky enough to get the extreme magic bow. This is what I'm doing with it. I'm really pursuing epic martial spirits to level it up, and those are like the two main priorities right now on this alt account, is getting that extreme magic bow to a 6-star and the apex boots. The apex boots are a must. I wish Joshua could wear them, but he can't. Joshua has to wear either those magic defense boots, which are an SR item, or he has to wear the divine boots. That's the only way you're going to get 4 movement out of him. I wish he could wear the apex boots because they would add to his attack. These are given defense and mobility. That's the thing, is we're trading a little bit of mobility for some crit and some attack. And mine seems to do just fine, truth be told, guys. But if you want to run Joshua that only moves up 3 blocks instead of 4, then you can make that work. You can increase his crit and attack a lot just by putting in a different accessory that actually gives crit and attack. But truth be told, guys, mine's doing plenty awesome without that extra little umph to his crit and to his attack. I do like the fact that he can move 4 blocks, so I'm sticking with this. The Performer Mask is probably the only thing I'm going to be upgrading. I do like the Demon Lizard skin on him, and the Extreme Magic Bow is staying on him. I don't have a Zarita, so this is what I got. I'm really happy with it, and it's been working out great. I will do an update when I actually get his Guardian Infantry for him, and I'll do some sample play between the Mist Dancers and the Guardian Infantry. So that stuff is all to come. Alright, so if I've missed anything on Joshua, Nasty Josh, I'm sure somebody will let me know. I'm always one click away. You guys have a good day.